Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Jamie aka Rick here, bringing you part 38 of my GTA4 Let's Play. First of all, I think there's going to be about probably 10 more parts, maybe not even that, maybe like 5 at the most I'd say of GTA, something like that. So yeah, just wrapping up pretty rapidly, and still haven't figured out what game I'm going to do next, so I'll let you know when I find out, or I might not, I might just surprise you with it once GTA is finished. But yeah, in this video, as you can see, going for another job with Phil. If you remember back a couple of videos, we picked up some drugs off of some Russians that were trying to like put them on a boat, I think it was, and we took him to his nephew's house, which is like a abandoned house in the middle of nowhere. We're going to pick him up because it's been a little while since we've done that, so no, well, they should be clean now, no one should be looking for them. But it turns out they've been watched by like the government basically, and we get mobbed by loads of government cars and police cars and stuff as we're driving away in them, in the cars with the drugs in. They chase us around for a bit. Phil decides he wants to get out, so we obviously get out, have a little shootout in an alleyway, and then we get into a van with the drugs and escape the cops, so it's pretty successful. And then I go for my first assassination mission. It's been on my map for a little while, so I thought I'd go and check it out, see what it is about. And basically you get a phone call from a guy and you have to go and take someone out that he asks you to. Like, it gives you a location, it gives you some armour and a gun, and you know, pretty much lets you go on your way. So that was pretty easy, and I just had to drive a boat, chase after this guy and shoot him down. And then I go and see Michelle's employer, which was like person basically I'm getting blackmailed by them to do work, otherwise he's going to pin everything on me. So you know, I've kind of got to do the work. He asked me to go and get a police car, and you know, and then he'll send me a picture of this dude and I have to go and take him out, but that'll be in the next video. I mean, I'll just like basically go and speak to him and he tells me what he wants me to do. So you know, look forward to that in the next video. Me attempting to find a police car and steal one. It's not as easy as it sounds. But yeah, anyway, in this video I'm going to be talking about sequels, which is, I know it sounds a bit vague, but it's basically games that I would like there to be a sequel about. And you know, ones that maybe, well, some of them will come out in the future, I'll know that, but some of them are ones, you know, been a couple of years and they haven't said anything about it, and I hope they do, but maybe they won't, we'll see. So yeah, what am I going to start with? Okay, I'm going to start with Borderlands 2, I think. It's going to be the first one that I do. If you haven't played Borderlands, for anyone who hasn't played it, which I can't imagine as many people, it's an absolutely fantastic game. It's what would you say, a first-person RPG, first-person shooter RPG. It's fantastic. You're literally never get the same gun two times through, unless it's obviously off a boss, which is the only time you will get the same gun, because there's thousands and thousands of parts and they're randomly generated and put it together when the gun drops. So it's not like, there's not like a few, there's absolutely hundreds, so you get so many different combinations. Sometimes you get a fantastic gun that suits your class really well, and if you find a gun like that, then the game's quite easy. I'm not going to say like ridiculously easy, but it's a lot easier if you find a gun that suits your class really well, which I have on my playthrough. I found, well, it's not perfect, it would be better if I was the rogue, but I found an SMG that's basically so ridiculously overpowered it takes like no bullets to kill anything really. So you know, it's got a fire attachment on it, which basically if I shoot a guy he bursts into flames and it does ridiculous amounts of damage over time. So it does more damage with the element effect than it does with the actual bullets. So if I was a rogue who specialised in SMGs, it'd be even more ridiculous, and it literally would be the perfect gun. So but I play as the hunter, so I need a good sniper or a good like revolver pretty much, and I'll be set. But I haven't found one yet, so fingers crossed that I will. So I still do play it even though I'm like nearly max level. So no, definitely if you haven't got it, you should buy it. So cheap now, it's like probably about £10, something like that, probably about $15 if that, I don't know. But yeah, so I just hope they do another one, because the storyline, it wasn't like, obviously it wasn't a Final Fantasy storyline, it wasn't as deep as that, but it still was strong enough to keep me interested, you know, wanting to know what's going to happen next, all that sort of stuff. So that's kind of the main focus of an RPG, and then you've got the enjoyment of a first-person shooter, because I am a huge first-person shooter fan. I've got literally half of my games probably that I own are first-person shooters, so no, it's just something that you know, I've played all the time. I always play first-person shooters, so you know, when these two, you know, RPG and first-person shooter came together, I was amazed, like how good it synergizes and how good it plays together. So hopefully there'll be a number 2 with an equally, maybe even better storyline, and you know, maybe a few more classes, a few different classes, and I don't know. So maybe more importance on parties. I don't know if that'd be good or not. So I've played quite a lot of it on my own, and obviously I've got 2 characters. One's max level, which I've done co-op, and one's not quite max level, so which I've done on my own. But still, yeah, maybe like Left 4 Dead, if they got the AI right and you needed your party, that could be quite good. But I still think just more classes, I think, would be the main improvement for me. The guns are fine, obviously the storyline was good, the areas were good, everything was amazing about it. So just literally new classes, I think, just add a bit more variety to it. So I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, hopefully they'll do a sequel to that. Another one, which I'm sure is going to happen, but I'll mention it anyway, is Portal 3. I'm sure it's in the works already. But Portal 1 and 2, as you know, because I've done videos on them. 2 of my favourite games, recent games anyway. So I don't know, it's obviously a new concept that you don't really get with any other game. The fact that you've got a portal gun, it's kind of, you know, it's the only game that you'll get that in. So I think that on its own is enough to warrant a sequel or another sequel. Make the trilogy, you know, all good things come in 3s. So yeah, definitely Portal 3 is for anyone who hasn't played it. Definitely get it, 'cause it's quite cheap now, and you know, if you don't want to get it without maybe watching a review or some videos on it, then you know, take a look through my videos, because they're, you know, pretty good. I'd say they were, well, I think they're good anyway. Not everyone will, but you know, maybe, I don't know, I didn't watch many videos of Portal 2 before I done it. Well, obviously I'd watched loads of Portal 1 before I done it, because it's a really old game now. So but Portal 2, yeah, it is quite fun not watching videos before you do it, but some of the puzzles are pretty hard, so I had to you know, do a bit of revision for some of them, but that's all good. It was only a couple of puzzles, so I didn't feel that bad about doing it. But I'm not really sure what they can do with it now. That's the only problem with another sequel to it, because obviously in the new one they added in like the new laser beams and the light bridges, and what else? The propeller pads, basically, like you stand on them and they like fling you across the room. Can't remember what they were called, but yeah, so they added a couple of bits into it, but I'm not really sure what they can add now to it, because they've done quite a lot, obviously. Although it will probably be quite a few years before it comes out, so I'm sure in that time they'll think of something, and it will be awesome if it does come, which I'm sure it will, because you know, it's hugely successful, so there's no reason really why they wouldn't do it. So yeah, I will look forward to that if it does come out. Another one, Crackdown 3. I was a bit disappointed with Crackdown 2. It wasn't as good as the first one. I mean, it did have a lot to live up to, the sequel, so I'm not sure they're going to do a third one, because obviously 2 wasn't as successful as the first one. But you know, fingers crossed that they'll go back to the roots of the first one and actually make a decent sequel. Because you know, the first one was one of the first games I bought on my 360, because it was quite cheap at the time. I mean, it was a reasonable, like, it's quite old when I got my Xbox 360. So the Xbox 360 had been out for a couple of years, I reckon, when I got it, maybe a year and a half, something like that. So I came in quite late, well, not late because it's still going now, but quite a long time after it had come out. So yeah, I bought Crackdown because it's really cheap. was like the second game I bought, I think. First one was Juiced, I think, maybe something. I think it was Juiced, yeah. So I bought Crackdown, and it was amazing. Like, for anyone who hasn't played it, it's, I don't really know how to explain it. You're a genetically enhanced policeman, basically, and the city's been taken over by a load of gangs, and you've basically got to push them back, take out their gang leaders and stuff. And yeah, it's not just that though. You can upgrade yourself. Like, you can get stronger, faster, you can jump higher, all that sort of stuff. You can get better with weapons, and the range of weapons as well is good. Say you use grenades, you obviously get explosive skill. If you use guns, you get gun skill. If you jump up a lot of buildings, and then you get stamina, I think it was, or run. And then if you use like melee combat, you get fighting rating. Obviously, if you drive cars, you get driving rating. So it's pretty simple stuff. But say you use your gun from the top of a building, you get stamina and gun skill every time you kill someone, obviously, because you've climbed to the top of that building to get those kills. So yeah, it's the way it's played out is really interesting and really fun. So it's literally just mindless killing, because you're kind of a super cop, and you shouldn't really die, so you can jump insanely high and insanely far, and you know, you can fire guns while you're doing it. So that's pretty good. I mean, I can't see him making another one, because it's been quite a while now, and as I said, number 2 didn't sell that well, so I can't see it happening. But fingers crossed that they go back, they look at 2, see what they did wrong, and think, right, so we're not going to do that this time, and then bring out another one, and it will sell insanely well, and they'll be really happy. But yeah, we can only hope about that. Another game, Def Jam, another game which I'm not sure will be done, because they brought out a pretty bad one for the 360 again, but I hope it does. It's like the Def Jam, it's basically the fighting series. It's like, what can I compare it to? Pretty much not Street Fighter, because that's obviously got the power-ups and everything, but it's literally just a brawler. You're like 1v1, and you just punch and kick, obviously, do grapples. So yeah, it's pretty fun. I mean, the first 2 were on the original Xbox, which were the better 2. So Def Jam Vendetta and Def Jam Fight for NY, which are 2 of the best games on the original Xbox. Definitely, if you're gonna, if you're thinking about, you know, getting a bit of nostalgia, and maybe you want to try out some new games for it, believe it or not, I would still like to. There's some games on the original Xbox that I haven't played I'd like to, so, you know, one day I might buy one again and play it. But yeah, so Def Jam Fight for NY and Vendetta were really good. I think it was Fight for NY, you could like have a class, obviously, like grappler or kickboxer or whatever. There's quite a lot of variety, so that was good, and you could level up your skill in each one. You could you know, make a hybrid character. You could have some, you know, high skills in 2 or 3 of them, so that was pretty good. And then they went Icon, I think it was, next, which came out on the 360, which you know, you had to fight to music, I think it was, which was a really weird concept for me, and it had really bad reviews, so I never I never got around to buying it and playing it, so, because it just sounded really bad, like the concept of it, which you know, it doesn't sound amazing. Fighting to a beat of the music just doesn't sound, you know, that exciting to me. But definitely try out Fight for NY and Vendetta if you've got an original Xbox lying around. You can probably pick them up for like £1, if that. Probably be like 50p or something on Amazon or on eBay, something like that. You can find them really cheap now, because obviously they're really old, so, but they're definitely worth it. Quite a few hours of gameplay you'll get out of them, so yeah, it's got to be worth it for that. Another game, Final Fantasy Tactics, but like not a handheld one this time, because the only ones I've played, I think there might be one on PC, but it's really old, so it's probably like about 100 quid or something stupid, because it's old and it's Final Fantasy. But I mean, the ones I've played are on Game Boy Advance, and I've got the PSP one, and they are really good, but they're a bit old, you know. I'd like one on PC or console, that'd be pretty cool. like a modern day one with, you know, some pretty snazzy graphics, and I don't really think they need to change much. That's the thing, like, about it, because it's a pretty simple concept, but it's just quite fun what you have to do. For anyone who doesn't know, Final Fantasy Tactics is kind of like a turn-based. It's like a board game, really, if you think about it. So you've got your little characters, and like the area that you're fighting in is made up of like little squares, and each character moves obviously a certain amount of squares, and then depending on their class, they've got different abilities. So say a ranger or a hunter has got obviously some various types of long shots and stuff with a bow, and then you've got like assassins who, you know, they've got like daggers or katanas, something like that, and then you've got soldiers, which are basically huge swords, and they do crazy damage. You've got I think it's like, is it warlord or something? They have like elemental weapons and stuff like that. They're pretty cool. Yeah, there's like a huge list of different classes, and the way you have to get them is like in the Game Boy Advance one. You have to say you got a black mage. You've got to master 3 spells as a black mage, and you unlock white mage. And then if you learn 2 white mage spells, you unlock time mage. And if you unlock a couple of, like, you master a couple of them, you get all these different types of crazy classes. And it's the fact that as you're going through the game, you've got to actually think about spells that you're teaching your characters, as well as getting the right composition. Obviously you've got to have a healer every time. You've got to have a couple of melees, and then some rangers sitting at the back doing like mega damage. Like black mages, obviously they do a hell of a lot of AoE damage. Summoners do a lot of AoE damage. And then you've obviously got your single targets, which is like your hunters, your soldiers, all that sort of stuff. So it is a really like a strategic game if you think about it like a lot, and you get your your little team set up right. But to start with, obviously you've got to train them up so you don't have your ideal classes all the time. But another little trick you can do with I'm not sure if you can do it with the PSP one, because I haven't really played that one that much, but with the Game Boy Advance one, if you got like really high characters, your main character will always be your highest one. So he starts off higher, and you always use him. You have to use him. So obviously as your party grows, you're trying to train them all up, keep them all level, but it's pretty much impossible. So you always have this one character higher than the rest. So if you kill all the enemies, leave one left, and basically push him into a corner, and then put your, or like try and get him so he's only got 1 block, or maybe 2 to move in, and then put your main guy in front of him, and then surround your main guy with your other group. And if you've got a mage, you just melee hit your main character for 1 damage, which is, it's easily like healable. If you do that with all your low level mages, and then you got a white mage sitting there just healing the whole party, they get ridiculous amounts of XP because that your main character is such a high level and they're really low, that it boosts them up really quickly. So if you really want to, which you need to do in Final Fantasy games because they're all like it, you farm quite a lot of XP like that. I've sit there for hours farming up, like training up my little characters just so they can get levels and learn new spells and stuff, because that is one of the best ways of doing it. So definitely recommend doing that. So yeah, so definitely Final Fantasy Tactics for console or PC. PC would be preferable, so then I could make videos on it, and that would be a hell of a long game if I did that. So yeah, I would definitely recommend that. I'm not sure like if there's any way of capturing it from a Game Boy at all, like video, so maybe I'll find a what is it called, like a virtual Game Boy for the computer. So I'm sure they're out there. I think they are. So if I can find one of them and it plays well, then I might do some videos on that, because that would be pretty cool to actually play that again on a PC as well. So we might see that in the future. So that pretty much wraps up the video. It's overrun a little bit, but thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.